Welcome to episode 233 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history by 17 Law Sky. It's June 21, 1970, Mexico City, Estadio Azteca, Brazil against Italy, the World Cup final. And today, football gets one of its perfect endings. Brazil 4, Italy 1. Brazil become the first nation to win 3 World Cups. They get to keep the Jules Rimet Trophy. Pelé scores and becomes the first, and still only, player to win 3 World Cups. And the 1970 Brazil team walks into football mythology as maybe the greatest team of all time. But how did we get here? Start with Brazil before 1970. Brazil had already been world champions twice. In 1958, Pelé was 17, Garrincha was magic, and Brazil won their first World Cup in Sweden. In 1972, in Chile, Pelé was injured early, but Garrincha carried them to a second title. But Brazil's World Cup story also had wounds. 1938 had given the world Leonidas and the first great Brazilian run. 1950 had given Brazil the Maracanazo, the great silence against Uruguay. And 1966 had been humiliation. Pelé was kicked, injured, haunted, and Brazil went out in the group stage in England. The champions looked broken. So 1970 is not only a team chasing a title, it's a restoration. And even that restoration begins with instability. João Saldanha takes Brazil through qualifying brilliantly. They win all 6 qualifiers. The attack is terrifying. But Saldanha is removed before the tournament. The politics are heavy. Brazil is under military dictatorship. The national team is not merely a team. It's a national symbol, a government obsession, a public instrument. In comes Mario Zagallo, a World Cup winner as a player in 1958 and 62. Now he's the coach. And his great problem is also his greatest gift. Too much talent. Pelé, Tostão, Rivellino, Gérson, Jairzinho. In another country, perhaps 2 of them sit. Zagallo chooses structure over exclusion. Let intelligence organize intelligence. Let the ball move. Let the players think. Behind them were Clodoaldo, Piazza, Brito, Everaldo, Carlos Alberto, and Felix in goal. Not a perfect defense, but good enough. And in front of them, a team that could make football feel improvised, even when it was engineered. This wasn't chaos. It was not 11 artists doing whatever they wanted. It was organized joy. Now Italy. Italy arrived as European champions. They won Euro 1968 at home. They had World Cup titles from 1934 and 38. They had the tactical gravity of a Serie A behind them. Milan, Inter, Cagliari, Juventus, Catenaccio, yes, but also class. Pachetti, Bugnicci, Mazzola, Rivera, Riva, Boninsegna, Albertosi, Serra, Di Sisti, and Domenghini. The coach is Ferruccio Valcareggi, and his great question is the staffetta, Mazzola or Rivera, Inter rhythm or Milan fantasy. Italy's route is strange. In the group stage, they score once and concede nothing. 1-0 against Sweden, 0-0 against Uruguay, and 0-0 against Israel. But then they wake up. They beat Mexico 4-1 in the quarterfinal. And then, 4 days before this final, they survive the game of the century. Italy 4, West Germany 3, after extra time. 5 goals in extra time. Beckenbauer with his arms in a sling. Rivera scoring the winner. Greatness, but also exhaustion. Go back 4 days and listen to the OTD episode about that match. Brazil's route is cleaner and more radiant. They beat Czechoslovakia 4-1. They beat England 1-0. They match up Pelé's header and Gordon Banks' impossible save, as we talked about in episode 219. They beat Romania 3-2. They beat Peru 4-2. They beat Uruguay 3-1 in the semi-final, turning the old Maracanazo ghost into a stepping stone. And now the final. Estadio Azteca. More than 107,000 people. The referee is Rudi Glöckner of East Germany. 18th minute. Rivellino crosses from the left. Pelé rises above Bugnicci. That sentence already feels unfair. Pelé rises, hangs, and heads down. Brazil 1, Italy 0. Bugnicci later said he told himself Pelé was flesh and bone, like everyone else. But he was wrong. Italy answer. 37th minute. A Brazilian mistake. Clodoaldo is caught. Boninsegna pounces, rounds Felix, and scores. 1-1. At half-time, the final is balanced. Brazil have beauty. Italy have survival. Then the second half becomes Brazil's argument with history. 66th minute. Gérson receives the ball outside the area. He strikes with his left foot. Low, violent, and precise. Brazil 2, Italy won. 5 minutes later, Gérson sends a long free kick into the Italian penalty area. Pelé heads it down. Jairzinho bundles it in. Brazil 3, Italy 1. And Jairzinho has now scored in every match of the World Cup. And then, in the 86th minute, the goal that becomes the team's forever signature. Brazil move the ball from deep. Ronaldo dances past Italian challengers in midfield. The ball goes left, then across the field. Tostão is involved. Jairzinho, Pelé. And Pelé, instead of shooting, rolls the ball perfectly into space. Carlos Alberto arrives like a train. Right foot, boom, goal. Brazil 4, Italy 1. It's not only a goal, it's a thesis. Everybody is involved. The ball faster than fear. The right back finishing like a center forward. Pelé seeing the future one pass before everyone else. The final is over, and Brazil are world champions. So what? Brazil win the trophy, literally. Under the rules, the first nation to win the World Cup 3 times would keep the Jules Rimet Trophy. Italy had 2, Brazil had 2. But today, Brazil get to 3 first. The trophy goes to Brazil permanently. Later, in 1983, it will be stolen and never recovered. That only deepens the mythology. The original World Cup trophy, kept forever, then lost forever. I'll tell that story another day. Pelé is crowned. He was the teenage miracle in 1958, the injured champion in 62, the abused genius in 66. In 1970, he becomes the completed footballer, not just scorer, but creator, leader, and symbol. This is the tournament that fixes Pelé as a global face of the sport, the first truly worthwhile worldwide television football king, in color, smiling under the Mexican sun. This Brazil team becomes the permanent measuring stick, and perhaps that is unfair. Every great team since has been dragged into comparison. Netherlands 1974, more revolutionary, but no World Cup. West Germany 72 and 74, tactically and institutionally magnificent, but not loved in the same way. Argentina 86, Maradona's tournament, maybe the greatest individual World Cup, but not the same collective ideal. France 98 and 2000, powerful, elegant, balanced, but not mythic in the same register. Spain 2008 to 12, perhaps the strongest tournament sequence by a national team, 3 straight major titles, but sometimes admired more than adored. Brazil 82, maybe the closest in spirit, Socrates, Zico, Falcao, Eder, but they didn't win either. Brazil 94 won, Brazil 2002 won. Both were great, but neither escaped the 1970s shadow. That is the strange gift and burden of Brazil 1970. They define what Brazil is supposed to be: joyful, technical, brave, musical, and beautiful, or Jogo Bonito. Even when Brazil wins differently, people ask why it was not like 1970. That is not fair to later Brazil teams, but myth is rarely fair. Italy has no exact equivalent. Italy's greatest myths are resilience: 1934, 38, 82, and 2006. Germany has 72 to 74, a giant of structure and control. Argentina has 1986 and 2022, Maradona's genius and Messi's fulfillment. Uruguay has the founding myth of 24, 28, and 1930. But Brazil 1970 is unusual because everything aligns. The team wins, the football is beautiful, the star is Pelé, the final goal looks like a film scene, the World Cup is in color, and the team ends almost immediately. By 1974, Pelé has retired from the national team. Tostão's career is over. Gérson is gone. Carlos Alberto is not there. The moment cannot be repeated, which is why it remains so powerful. Not a dynasty you can watch fade slowly. It's a perfect image, frozen at the end of the final. Will any team ever replace them as a measuring stick? Maybe. Hopefully. Football always thinks its latest brilliance is final. But to pass Brazil 1970, a team would need not only to win, it would need to win beautifully with a universal star in a final that gives us the perfect last image and a historical moment when the world is ready to remember it forever. And that is a lot to ask. Before we go, 3 things to take away from June 21, 1970. First, Brazil 1970 were not only artists, they were organized, coached, politically pressured, tactically balanced, and ruthless enough to win every match. Second, the final crowned Pelé's career in a way almost no athlete gets. 3rd World Cup, goal in the final, assist for the iconic final goal, and the trophy kept forever. And third, the myth survives because the team gave football both evidence and emotion. 6 wins, 19 goals, Jairzinho scoring in every match, Carlos Alberto's goal, Pelé's smile, beauty with proof. On this day in 1970, Brazil beat Italy 4-1 at the Azteca, won the World Cup for the third time, kept the Jules Rimet Trophy, crowned Pelé forever, and gave football the team every beautiful team still has to answer to. That is all for episode 233 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history by 17 Lost Guy. And here's my favor to ask of you. Once you've done listening, and if you haven't done it already, please rate the show 5 stars. The algorithm will then push OTD in front of more people. If you have an idea for the show, my email is otd@17lostguy.com. Tomorrow, go to June 22nd, 1986, Mexico City again, Argentina against England, in 4 minutes in which Diego Maradona scores the hand of God and then the goal of the century. See you then.